There are lots of definitions and explanations out there about what plain language summaries are, but for me, there are certain key points that I think are really important. So firstly, they are summaries of information. They're not just documents that have been rewritten, they are summaries. And this is important to remember when you're explaining what a plain language summary is, because people need to be aware that whilst it will include the important points from the original document, it's not necessarily going to include all of the information. And then the next important thing for me around what a PLS, a plain language summary is, relates to the plain language part. And this to me means that it's in everyday, easy to understand, non-technical and jargon-free language, so that someone who is not an expert in the topic that the PLS is about will still be able to understand it enough to be able to use it as a basis for making decisions without necessarily going back to the original document. It should be that they can understand it from that plain language summary alone. And like I said, they can use it as a basis for making decisions. So that understanding needs to be sufficient enough for that to happen. I think that they're a hot topic right now. Plain language summaries are, on everyone's lips because it's becoming increasingly clear how valuable they are for creating more informed non-experts, whether that's patients and the public, whether it's health journalists, patient group representatives, non-specialist healthcare professionals. Particularly with the increased use of the internet for health information searches and the increased utilization of open access for scientific publications, it's becoming much easier for many more people to access the kind of information that used to only be accessible to experts. So in order to enhance understanding and knowledge and avoid misinterpretation, this information needs to be available in formats that those new audiences can easily understand, especially because this type of information is increasingly being used by patients to participate in shared decision-making, which is the model of healthcare that we have been moving towards for many years now. And then also, plain language summaries of publications or lay summaries of clinical trial results, we do need to make a distinction between the two. They're now being recommended and or mandated by professional and regulatory bodies. So they're becoming much more important for meeting requirements and or following good publication practice. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 15 years ago in 2008. Plain language summaries weren't around then, and looking back, it's now very apparent to me just how much harder it was to understand any technical information about the trials that were conducted for medications that I was considering. Had I had access to plain language summaries, I'm almost certain that the decisions I made back then would have been different. Now, I'm much more informed. I'm able to be much more informed and much more knowledgeable, not just about my own condition, but lots of conditions for which PLS are available. So I regularly access scientific journals, either for background reading or to directly inform decisions about my care or the care of my family. And there's always three things that I look at. I look at the abstract, I look at if it's open access, and I look to see if there's a PLS. Now, if there isn't a PLS, my heart sinks a little because it means I have to try to wade through pages of technical language, some of which I may not understand, and I have to hope that I'm going to come to the right conclusion. If there is a plain language summary, I kind of mentally do a bit of a happy dance because I know that having the plain language summary there will enhance my understanding of often what are very complex topics. As a patient advocate, I also have the opportunity to contribute to scientific publications, and I will always recommend to my co-authors that a criteria for journal selection should be whether they provide an option to submit a PLS. I wholeheartedly believe in their value, and I think that they should accompany as many scientific articles as possible. And then, what improvements do I think still need to be made? I think we need to improve the way in which PLS are developed so that they're written for a lay audience with a lay audience. So it's not that they're just written for the lay audience and a lay audience isn't involved in their development. I think particularly when we're talking about patients need to be involved in the development of PLS. Having patient advocates as an integrated part of the process, I believe, vastly improves the quality of PLS and how fit for purpose they are. And I'm not just saying that as someone who's involved in the development of PLS. I also think we need to improve the awareness of their existence, as well as make it easier for people to find them. So at the moment, PLS are housed all over the place. I would love there to be one single repository where people can go to in order to search for any PLS that has ever been done about a medication, about a trial, about a topic, about a condition. That for me, that would be an absolute ideal, because discoverability is one thing. There's no point in having PLS available if people can't find them. So I think we really do need to improve how discoverable they are and the awareness that they exist. I would like to think that artificial intelligence might be utilised as a tool for writing PLS and for improving discoverability. I don't think we should be using AI to replace humans in the process. I think it should be used to enhance the process. So, for example, it could aid medical writers, some of whom aren't necessarily specifically trained in plain language. It could help them to write the PLS in the first place. I still think that patient advocates need to be involved in the process too. I don't think AI can always ascertain what would be important to patients. It might be able to automatically say, yes, side effects are important, so they need to be included, but won't necessarily have the nuanced understanding to be able to select which side effects would be the most helpful to include from the reader's point of view. So for me, AI is most definitely a tool. It's not a replacement. And I think in having that tool available, it could speed up the writing process, which could then increase the number of PLS that could be written and potentially impact how prevalent they are. So there's that as well.